Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a brand new playthrough of Timberborn. If you guys are new to the series, definitely check out some of the older videos. Consider subscribing to stay up to date on this series, as well as others, and leave a like and a comment. Really helps out with the video engagement. This playthrough is going to be on the new Update 4. Really excited for it, so let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, Update 4. Really excited for this playthrough. We are going to be playing as the Iron Teeth. The majority of the changes in Update 4 did come at the hands of the Iron Teeth, so very excited for that. We're also going to be playing on the new map that came with this update, Craters. And we're going to be playing on normal difficulty. I want this to be a nice, relaxed playthrough, give us plenty of time to build cool stuff, and hard mode can just be a little tedious at times. So we're going to go in normal. And let's go ahead and get into this. So, speaking of the previous Timberborn playthrough, if you were a fan of that playthrough and you really want to see a little bit more, just let me know in the comments below. I do have another 4 or so episodes already recorded that I just never got around to editing. So if you want to see them and there's enough demand for it, I'm more than happy to go ahead and edit those for you guys. So let's call this... what do we want to call our settlement? We'll call it Iron Beaverdom. Iron Kingdom, but with beavers? Iron Beaverdom. Who knows? I have no idea. But that works. Alright, so let's take a look at this map here. It's called Craters. So we have a nice little water flow here. And it kind of works its way around. This is a huge map. Looks like we have multiple water sources, which is always fun. And we kind of start on the low ground, so I'm really excited for this. So, just a quick pause, just to give you guys a lay of the land if you're unfamiliar with Timberborn. Up in the top left here, we kind of have our beaver info, if you will. So we've got 8 adults and 4 children. You can figure that out just by hovering over what all these numbers mean. We have 12 homeless and 6 unemployed. If you click up here, this kind of gives you a little bit more in-depth menu, where you can kind of really go into the specifics of like each beaver, and you can transfer stuff around, and pretty interesting. Click on this green here, you get your well-being. So they're currently at 0. They're not hungry, thirsty, or tired, because we just started the game. So that gives us +1 for each. They also have no shelter, so that gives us a -3 for each, so net 0. Outstanding. This is outstanding. We also have our science. We have our materials, our ingredients, so I guess you could call this finished goods and intermediary goods. We have our food supply, which is currently only 130 berries. We have our logs and our water. Very good, so that's the top left. Top right here, we got our time control, so you can speed up time, slow it down. Our working hours, our cycle, so we are not expecting a drought anytime soon. And then these tools down here at the bottom, we'll just kind of go through them as we use them. Don't really want to spend the next 20 minutes going through each of these. However, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go into paths and structures, grab a path. Let's drag it over here so we can get some wood. And then let's kind of drag it down there. We'll go into water. I like to start out with a water pump, and I actually built that one too far. So let's get a water pump. Oh, and I had it backwards. There we go. Water pump. Let's go into wood. Get a couple lumberjack flags, and we will mark a good cutting area. Cut down all of these trees here. And we can also have them go down here and cut down these trees using that little set of stairs. So we'll get all of that cut down, which will be really good. Let's go into storage. And I would love to get a large industrial pile in here. I'm also just going to put a path around there so that we kind of have good access in every direction. So we'll put a large storage in there. And then why don't we run a path generally over here so we can go into food, get some gatherer flags, put a couple of them down. Okay, so let's speed this up. They can start to get this stuff built. Okay, I'm also going to come into the water pump. I'm going to put that on maximum workplace priority so that they always get that going. And I'm going to put the builders on medium low, just so if they need to pull from anywhere, they'll pull from the builders. Okay, so this is perfect. Now, a big concern here is going to be getting a dam set up early on to be able to block some of this water. Now, where we want to put that, I'm not sure. This looks like a nice little choke point here that won't require too many dam pieces. So we can go ahead and get that in there, put a path across, and then I'm just going to kind of map this out. This path will kind of intersect right there. We'll have this store logs. That will be perfect. And the early part of this game, there's a lot of waiting in the early part of Timberborn. Or waiting is not a bad word. Planning, I think, would be a better word. So, in a sense, there's going to be a lot of time where we just don't have the resources necessary to kind of do what we want to do. And this is too far from builders. So let's get that path connected up there by just removing those 3 little baby trees. And now they should be able to come over here and get that built. So that's going to be 3 dams, 20 logs apiece. So we'll need 60 logs to get that built. We can also start to think about some of our other needs here. So we know that they need shelter. So let's go ahead and right off the bat start working on some shelter. I'm kind of thinking something in here. We also are going to need to work on our housing. And I'm thinking if we put a storage here, we should be able to plant a pretty good amount. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a temporary... they've changed the size of the farm. Very interesting. Okay. Well, that kind of changes some stuff. Means I could get 3 farms on top of 2 sets of storage. I'm just going to place a temporary farm there for now. And then we'll need to figure out what kind of crops we want to plant. So I believe kohlrabi they can just eat straight from the ground. So let's get a patch of kohlrabi in there, and I'm leaving enough space to be able to get more water pumps in here. And just to kind of solidify that, I'll run a path down there. And now this is going to store kohlrabi. Kohlrabis, there we go. Okay. And that we got our dam built. That is huge. That is great news. Okay. So once they get this built, I'm just going to make sure that they focus on that. We're going to need a house. We're also going to need some science. So let's go into housing here. And let's spin that around. We could probably get some housing back in here, like so. And each of these can hold 10, so we do need 2 to be able to house everybody. And then once we have that done, we can probably go ahead and move on to the science, because we're really going to need a log cutter. So let's see how we want to do this. Are we going to want a path back through there? Probably not. I think that that's probably a little excessive. So let's go with something like that, and then we can also start to get some birthing pods. So something that's a little interesting, if you watch my previous playthrough of the Folktales, and you've never played this game, the Iron Teeth breed in a very different way than the Folktales. They use these birthing pods to essentially, I don't know if cook is the right word, but they essentially just, I don't even know, grow new beavers. They don't give birth to new beavers in the same way that some of the other, or not some of the other faction does it. They simply grow them in these pods. We are out of water, so I'm going to go ahead and get a second water pump down. Now, whether that will be in use is up for debate. Let's go ahead and put these guys at medium workplace priority. Let's see. We do have one unemployed beaver because our children have grown up, which is very good. Now, cassava. Cassava. I wish I had like a little menu here to see these new foods. Does cassava have to be cooked? Yes, it does. It has to be fermented, and then it can be consumed. Let's see. 5 days to grow 1 cassava. 4 cassava into 10 fermented cassava. That's interesting. What does the fermenter require? Just logs. Just logs. That's good. And let's get this path in here so we can make our way down to these trees. And we can connect that up later on. We do have no logs, which is excellent news. Let us prioritize the science, then the birthing pods, and then we're probably going to need to go straight for the forester, I would say. Yeah, we're really going to need to get some science going so we can get that forester. I will be right back. Alright, and I am back. We have someone working in the science, which is great. Let us go ahead. I'm going to put this water pump at the lowest priority, so we get the breeding pods up and running. And then we move on to our next science. So this is good. We have a beaver being grown. You can see it in there, which is very exciting. Our first beaver growth, which is great. And we're starting to get some science rolling in. All right, so in order to make, if we go into the wood tab, in order to make the forester, we need, you can see that in the red underneath the resources required, it says 60. So that means we need 60 science to be able to unlock it. Now, 60 science is it's not an insignificant amount. However, it's not a ton in the grand scheme of the game. However, I just realized I didn't put in any water storage. So let's think about where we want to put that in. Trying to find a nice area that's going to be hard to use. Maybe right there. I feel like that'll be pretty hard to use. Okay. So we're getting some science rolling in. Anyway, if we go into the wood tab, if you hover over the forester, not only do we need 60 science, but we need planks. We need 10 logs and 7 planks. So we need to get some planks produced. So I'm just going to set up a little temporary industrial area back here. So if I run kind of a log back there, we'll go ahead, we'll get a power wheel and a whatever this is called, industrial lumber mill. So we need a power wheel and an industrial lumber mill to start getting some planks produced, which will be good. Let's get water stored in there. Let's also have water stored there. So hopefully we can get some water produced. Although, let's max that out. Then that, and then they can build that at their leisure. Because we really need to get a forester in so that we can start to plant some trees and not just rely on these ones to keep growing themselves. Okay, so for food, we are getting the kohlrabi coming in, which is very good to see. And we do have enough science now to get the forester. And that's not where I want that. We are going to put the forester in, I'm thinking like right here. Right at this corner. Has really good coverage of a lot of growable area. That's at 96%, so we will just let that grow in, and then we will go ahead and get the forester. Let's max out the workplace priority of our second water pump, so that we can hopefully get a little bit more water stored. And if we go into storage, I would love to get a medium water tank. We're nowhere near there yet. It requires gears, which, I mean, we're not even thinking about gears at this point. That is so far down the line that, you know, it's just not even, doesn't even make sense to go about it. Okay, so let's get some of that in. Let's get a forester in here. Let's lower the priority on that, because we need the plank production up and running before we can even start to build the forester. So yeah. So now, this is a pretty good example. If you come up to the time control in the top right, you can see this cycle now. It's counting down to a drought. So we have 2 days until our water supply, which is coming, if you follow the river back, coming all the way from here, until that completely stops, which is why we put in this dam. So we will hold a significant amount of water in here. Not enough to continue to pump, really, but enough that it doesn't make everything dry out instantly anyway. And we can go ahead and pause our power wheel so we don't have anybody working in there. We need to get the planks up and running. And we are about 14 logs away. So we should be able to get there. 64%, that's a little far out, so let's get rid of that. Let's get some paths down there to hopefully extend the range a little bit. Yeah, and things are going pretty good. We are clearing out the last of the pine. We did get rid of that tree, so we can add that in now. And they're still not in range. So let's shift them to there. And we can go ahead and pause these two. Hopefully we get people working in there. And now they're in range. Okay. So let's unpause the power mill. We are going to... Excuse me, we are going to need to get somebody in here, so let's put that at moderately high workplace priority. And now you can see that we have 4 vacancies. So they shouldn't come from our water, because we have this on the highest production. However, we are about to go into a drought, so I'm going to pause those. They shouldn't have come from our farm. Looks like they came 2 from our science. And then I'm not sure where the other 2 came from. 2 vacancies. Oh yeah, I guess that is just our 2 science, now that we've paused the water pumps. Okay. Well, we can go ahead and get this built. And then if we come into our tree planting, what do we want to plant? Ah, this is one of the new trees that we have available to us, which is very exciting. So I'm going to pull a path straight through here as kind of a divider. How far along are these? A couple of them are pretty far. Let's just go ahead and get rid of those 3. But anyway, let's come in here and plant some trees. So pine take 12 days to grow. We get 2 logs. Oaks take 30 days, and we get 8 logs. Birch, 9 days for 1. So I'm thinking we plant some pine in here, and then we plant oaks in this whole area. Something like that. And then I'm actually going to get rid of both of those lumberjacks. We're going to shift them down here to where they have more coverage of the entire area. And now let's go back into our cutting. We will clear out all of our old cutting area. I'll also clear that path. Completely unnecessary. You could leave that marked for cutting, but I just prefer to clean up the cutting area. And you can see now just 0.3 days left in the drought, and then we should be good to go. We're also almost there on our planks, which is good, although we are completely out of logs. So, oh, unfortunately we are not that good, but we are about to get the water to return. So let's unpause our water pumps, because we are completely out of water, which is great. We also did just have our first two kids, first two child beavers. We also have more on the way, which is great. And these breeding pods, just so you're aware, they take water and berries to grow a beaver. So, I mean, obviously, those are the ingredients of a beaver. Everybody knows that. Hopefully this last tree can grow, and this is going to give us 2 logs, which is exactly what we need to make 2 planks, which is exactly what we need to finish this forester. It's like I planned it. Man, that's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. All right, so let's get some cassava, maybe, planted in here, and then we can ferment it. I think that is a good idea. Actually, that's a terrible idea. Let's not do that. What I would love to do... Let's go into Forester. Let's plant a little area of berries. Let's get some berries planted in here. I am going to have this guy prioritize the pine. So get the pine planted. So let's pause the lumberjack. Hopefully we'll get someone cutting some trees. And then once we get those 2 logs, we can go ahead and open that back up. There we go. So now he has the 2 logs. They will be made into planks. But anyway, once we get these berries planted, we can go ahead and remove this and expand our farming area. Because I kind of want it to be relatively adjacent to the farmhouses. So he'll do the pine, and then once he's done with the pine, we will have him go on to the berries, and then the oaks last. Just because it is going to take quite a while for those oaks to grow. And I want to have the pine up and running so that we can at least have some level of wood production. And now let's pause the planks. We can also pause both of these wood cutting areas because they're not necessary right now. And we can take a new assessment of how we're doing. So we're getting the pines planted. You can see this guy just running around planting pines. And then as we get a more solid wood production or wood supply going, we'll go ahead and replace these. Or maybe I'll leave them and put in like a tapper's shack or something. Yeah, that could work. Alright, so we have 4 more baby beavers coming in. We do have to be careful because these will just continue to reproduce over and over. Unless we tell them to do otherwise. So we do need to pause them occasionally. Although we did just have a death. Very sad. Senway. The beaver Senway died. He was a good beaver. Everybody loved Senway. Okay. Senway the beaver. This is also a nice little plantable area over here that we could work with. What I would love to be able to do is start getting some platforms so we could kind of build in the water to avoid building on our farmable area. But that is a long way off. We need a lot of planks to be able to do that. I think for now, we're just kind of in a holding pattern until we can get... Let's have him focus on the berries, get the berries planted. And then we can actually remove this and move on to bigger and better things. Let's also kind of plan out a little bit more science here. So we'll do something like that. Put those on the lowest priority. And then we'll bring that path straight through. And then this could also be an area in which to plant. Let's get one more lumberjack in there. Pause that. And then let's also get a couple gatherers in there, and we can pause those. And then I'm not sure what we could plant in there. Let's plant more oak in there. Oak is a good tree to plant. We can go back into our cutting area. And we can mark that for cutting. So that'll be a good amount of oak. We do have a good amount of berries. We do need these to grow. So these take 7 days to grow to their full form. And then, 12 days to grow to their full form. And then every 12 days they will produce 3 berries. So I think that'll be a good enough supply. Maybe like one more row. Like that. Yeah, probably one more row like that. That'll be good. Alright, so now that he's done that, we will always focus on oak. Because they take the longest to grow. That is going to be the priority for the remainder. The pines are coming along, which is really good. Do I want a road down to here? Are we ever going to use the staircase? Probably not, quite honestly. So why don't we plant more kohlrabi in there? And then we can also work on getting a proper farm setup. So let's unlock our stairs. And then we're also going to need to unlock our platforms. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a set of stairs there with a path. And then we're going to put platforms along the front. Another storage in there, and we can have 3 farms sitting up there, focusing on the kohlrabi, which will be really good. We are going to need planks for that, which means we're going to need wood for that. So, it is going to be a while until we can actually get that going. Now, I'm thinking once these beavers arrive, we're going to pause those for a little bit. Just because we're not quite able to get enough food produced. So let's get another farmhouse in there. Once again, the complete lack of wood supply is really hampering us. So for now, I'm going to put a road in here. And let's get a couple lumberjacks. Let's have them cut that down. And then we could also have them cut this area here once we get over there. Something like that, so we can actually get some wood, some logs. Okay, and this beaver here is just rocking and rolling. He is getting everything built. Let's do something like that. So we can get that farmhouse built first. Farmhouse is the priority. We need more wood. You can see that right now we are just living off of berries, which is not sufficient. Okay. So we can let those pods go a little bit further. They do take quite a while, even when they're fully stocked, to actually grow the baby beavers. But for now, I think we're doing pretty good. Still only roughly halfway on the pines. The oaks are still so far off. But hopefully we can get this up and running. And we do now have double farmhouse, so we should be able to get a good supply in here. And I think, just to continue to bolster the kohlrabi, we can go ahead and get rid of that. And then we can actually have them come in here. And let's get rid of most of these berries. Actually, let's not do that yet. I'm going to unpause this. I'm going to build them a little berry storage, just because berries are an essential item for the beavers. They do require berries. Obviously for the what are we calling it? For the production of children, the production, the growth of the little beavers requires the berries. Now, I'm just kind of moving this around. I'm trying to figure out where a good spot would be for this. And I can't really figure it out. Like, is that a good spot? I kind of want it to be fairly centrally located to the actual beavers themselves, but what I could do for now is just get a couple small warehouses in here to be used for berries. So let's get 2 of those in there. Something like that, and then let's get another breeding pod in there. There we go. So that kind of fills that up, and now this should clear out most of those berries. Okay, so we now have 9 vacancies, which is quite a few. Quite a few. Let's make sure all of our sciences are at medium low. These are paused. All of these are paused. I don't know if those count in the vacancy numbers. I am going to pause both of those so they do not count. Okay, so where did all of our jobs go? I imagine to the farmers. Let's see, we have 12 working beavers. So we can actually go up here into our menu. And we can go to workplaces. So our 4 sciences, all of our lumberjack huts except for 2, which are unpaused. Yeah. So quite a few vacancies. Quite a few. So let's have them clear out all of these stumps. I know we can build over them, but I just want to make sure that nothing comes in here and hurts, you know, kind of continues to grow, because this is going to be farmable area. You can actually see one of our beavers has been injured. You can see that little icon there. So let's go into well-being. Let's get a teeth grindstone. And let's find a good place to put that in. Maybe right here. I don't think that will interfere. Good place for a grindstone. I like that. I like that. And there we go. It's built. So now he can sharpen his teeth and he will no longer be injured. Which is good. We do have more beavers coming along, being cooked up, which I'm fine with actually, because now we have a solid amount of food and a pretty decent amount of water, to be completely honest. Not a huge amount, but a fair amount. And I think we could improve that a little bit. We can get maybe just a row of water storage going on here. We'll have to make sure that these are marked to store water and nothing else. Very good. Alright, we have our pines coming along, 86%, which is great. Give us a little bit more wood to work with. And then, the question really comes down to, how do we want to sort out our... let's get rid of that. Maybe they'll come over and pick up the berries, I'm not sure. But how do we want to sort out our farming? I believe that these are too far from a district center. So we can get rid of those, and we can go ahead and give them a path up here. Just so that they can reach all of this stuff that needs to be destroyed. Maybe they will come along here and move these berries. Likely not, because the storage is full. And our berries, speaking of berries, are about 80% of the way to being fully grown, and then they'll need another 12 days to actually produce the berries. So we might see a drop-off in terms of, you know, the reproduction rate of our beavers, but hopefully not. We do nearly have 100 science, which is going to be very good, so that we can eventually go in and get the platforms, which we're going to need to set up our farms the way that we want them. We are cutting down these last few trees, which is really good. Although I think they are all going to water storage, so hey, at least we'll have plenty of water. We will be able to max out the water. And you can see that our beaver is now just chilling because he has planted everything that I asked him to, which is perfect. Okay, we're doing pretty good now. Let's just go ahead and give them a path into there, just to make sure that we can clear all of these berries out, make that land farmable. And then we will continue to pretty much wait, quite honestly. What I'll probably do is between episode 1 and 2, I'll probably give this a little bit of time to get some of these trees grown. Let's go ahead and pause those because we are now in a drought. Give it some time to get some of these trees grown so that we can actually effectively continue with the game, essentially. We are going to get to the point where we just are planning out so much stuff that nothing will ever, you know, we will just constantly... If you watched my my last playthrough of Timberborn, I think it was like episode 2 and 3, was just so much planning with very little actually being built. And that's purely because you get to a point in this game where you just don't have the resources. Okay, so that's going to drain out of there if I break that. So what we probably want to do is come down here and dam this off. So if I bring a path down here, okay, and instead of cutting it there, I'm just going to go straight across. Let's get rid of that. And now let's go into landscaping and let's get a dam across there. That should be within reach. And then once that's done, we can actually break this, and that will flood this whole little area with water, gives a little bit more plantable land. Let's see, we can go ahead and get rid of that. I am going to square this off with a path. I think that that is good. And then if we just kind of take a minute, go into our water and plan, so we'll have 2 there. I'll have 1 here. And then maybe 1 there. So we'll have an entrance there. An entrance there. And an entrance there. for now. And then once we really get the wood supply up and running, we can go ahead and get some kohlrabi, or not kohlrabi, get some platforms so that we can actually put these water pumps in the water, maximizing our plantable area. This is a little tight, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work here. But, you know, down the line, that is our plan. Anyway, and you can see that we are just about out of water, although luckily the drought is ending, so we can go ahead and get these unpaused and back into operation, which is good. And they're building the dam down here, which is also good to see. And I think this is going to bring us to the end of the episode, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date on this series as well as others. Leave a like and a comment. It's really motivating and it really helps with the video engagement, you know, getting it out to as many people as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I'm really excited for this series. I love the new update and a lot of the changes that have been made. And I'm just really excited to see where this goes. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great day. Thanks. Bye.